I have the homie George right here. I met him on a mat. In fact, we went at it one time. I don't know if you remember.
I do remember.
And you're more skilled than I, you know?
Yeah.
There was like a week after that, because I was like learning kind of fast and stuff, and then I ended up getting hurt. But damn, I miss it, dog.
I know, dude. I remember when I messed up my knee, dude. I had to be gone for like, what was it? It was financial problems.
Yeah.
I had lost my job.
Yeah.
So I couldn't pay for it anymore.
Yeah.
So, I was gone for 6 months, trying to get a job, whatever. Finally got one. So I came back, renewed it, came back. I don't know why my knee just fucking gave out. Like, I don't know, it was weird. I don't know if it was my leg that, like, fucking, like, it wasn't used to it. It was the one that I had surgery on.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, what the fuck? Like, why is it hurting? Like, So, I rolled whatever. It felt like I dislocated something, but I don't know what it was, and I couldn't walk for that moment. So I waited like a couple days, got better, and then I rolled again, and it got worse. So I couldn't, to the point where I couldn't walk. So I was like, dude, like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So I went to the doctors, and then the doctors did a X-ray, and they said that I tore a little bit of the ligament on the, like, right here on the side right here.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I was hurting, and I was like, fuck, like, that's weird. Like, I don't know why, if like I never damaged it or anything like that.
Right.
So yeah, I took my time. I had to be gone for like a month, and I started wearing a knee brace, taking it slow. It was still hurting, but I guess my body got used to it.
Yeah, so you kind of just let it heal. But I was thinking like,
oh my bad.
It's cool. I think probably what happened was like, you haven't done any physical activity.
Probably, yeah.
And you know how it is, bro. Like when you get on the mat, like sometimes you show out a little bit. Like there's certain moments where you just do too much.
Yeah.
And I think like if you're not training, bro, if you're not training, like me for example right now, even though my shoulder feels good, if I show up and I don't take it lightly, I'm gonna get hurt again. Yeah, so that's probably like what happened. Like you're like having training, you show up, you have fun, you're like, oh
yeah.
Especially the fact that you had surgery already, it's kind of like
it's not the same anymore.
Yeah, exactly, bro. So honestly, I'm probably gonna need surgery myself. I don't know yet. I just scheduled my appointment with a doctor. It's an orthopedic. He's supposed to be badass, and I was looking at his like credentials and stuff, and I'm like, damn, like this. He's the doctor for the ski USA team.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I'm like, damn, like this was has his shit on lock.
Oh, fuck.
But earlier we were talking about music. We're talking about a show right here in Watts.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the name of your band, bro?
It's Putrescence. You can say Putrescence or Putrescence, depending however you want to say it.
Yeah.
It was funny when we came up with that name. Like it was just we were coming with so many names when like we finally got it together.
Mm-hmm.
We had I forgot what we named it at first. We named it this I forgot what it's called, but we named it.
Mm-hmm.
We posted it and everything, and then one dude commented like, "Oh, there's already a band like that with that name," and I was like, "Oh, fuck."
Yeah.
So all of us started talking about it again, especially my drummer. My drummer already had a death metal band going,
Mm-hmm.
so he's like, "Let's just call it Putrescence." Like I already had named it that way. Like it was my first band, second band I was working on, but all the members left.
Mm-hmm.
So like we could just take the name because it was his name, and we're like,
okay.
"Fuck it, dude, I like it. Like it's cool as fuck." And yeah, it just stuck with us. Like
Yeah.
it just fits well.
Yeah, according to him, like I've never heard that word before.
What it means, because I did search it up too, because I've heard it so many times.
Yeah.
But I kind of had a picture of what it was.
Yeah.
What it basically is just rotting flesh.
Rotting
Just
flesh.
like that's what it basically
fucking
means.
sick, bro.
Yeah. I was pretty like, oh shit, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah. I mean, is that like does it have a strong connection to what the purpose of the music is? Like, because when I think about rotten flesh, I think about like death, or becoming dead.
Mm-hmm.
I also picture like vultures, because they
all dark shit.
Yeah.
Yes. Reason why, because I don't know if you ever heard a band called Death.
Yeah.
He's like, that band is like my favorite band. Like just the vocalist, he's like a huge inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess we're all pretty much big fans of Death, especially me and the drummer. So I don't know if he came up with the name through that.
Yeah.
But to me, what it basically means, like, you know, just kind of like death and like, you know, just speaking about life and shit, like what life really is. And shit.
Yeah.
Just like true shit, basically.
Right.
You know. But yeah, I mean, I guess we all have different ideas of it.
For sure.
Some just like, oh, it's just brutal. Some of us is just like, you know, just the name. You know.
Yeah.
It just depends.
Yeah.
But to me, that's what it basically means. Like, just you know, my favorite band. You know, similar to death and shit. So.
Yeah. You know,
connected to that.
I feel that because like when I first started my podcast, like it was for sure it was like the Drippy Faucet podcast.
Yeah.
And there's a reason behind that. You know, like for example, you know what comes out of faucets usually.
Water.
Yeah. And so when I say water, is like, what is water?
Flow of things.
But most importantly, like, water is life, right?
That's true.
So my whole idea was like, I want people to like watch this, and when they come out of it, they're like, I feel somewhat inspired. You know, like that which water does to you is like, it makes you feel like, oh shit, I can keep going, right? Like we can't go through a whole practice of jiu-jitsu without drinking water.
That's true.
I mean, you can't try to.
That's true. It's true.
That's terrible, right? Like it's just it's necessary, right? And so I wanted this to be something not necessarily that's necessary, but something that like fuels you. You know, when you're like sad, depressed, and like, fuck it, let's go watch the Drippy Faucet podcast. And then to kind of come back to like your idea of like I got that name from death. Like I'm a big fan of Joe Rogan. You know, his podcast is
dope,
just the top of the top. You know what I mean? Top of the food chain.
Yeah.
It's cool for many reasons, and his is like the Joe Rogan experience. And my name starts with a J, Jesus. So it's like, and I've already been calling myself J Flow for a while. So I was like, I'll just call it the J Flow experience.
I mean, that's cool.
Yeah,
I mean,
and I was like,
it fits well.
Yeah, and I'm just like, fuck it, let's do it. Like, and at the end of the day, it's not like I have a boss or something, you know, that's gonna be like, hey, bro, like, I don't like what you're doing.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I feel like you feel similar with your band, no? Like you fools just kind of get together and do what you want to do.
Yeah, basically, we all have open minds to a lot of things.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, to be honest, dude, like I've been doing vocals since I was like maybe 16.
Yeah.
So like I was just doing it because it always caught my eye.
Yeah.
I don't know, like I guess with anything, like for the people like they pick up a guitar and they're like, fuck, this is my life.
Yeah.
To me, like vocals just caught my eye, and I was just like, fuck, like I want to learn how to do that. Like seeing frontmen do it, and like, you know, just fucking screaming and like just going ham, you know.
Yeah.
So I was like, dude, that's fun. Like that looks
Yeah.
fun. Like I want to be that, you know.
Yeah.
So I just started doing it, just covering, listening to music, just doing it and doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, I might have fucked up my throat so many times, but
For sure.
I ended up learning over time. Shit, I'm still perfecting it. Like I'm not even.
So when you were first trying it out and you were home, like with your family or something,
Nah, they weren't home.
Oh, nah?
I couldn't do it when they were home.
they would freak out.
I'll either do it like in the morning when everybody's gone,
Yeah.
before school, or I'll do it like when I get home from school and like no one's home.
Yeah.
That's the only time I'll do it.
Yeah. Well, they must know now.
I mean, yeah, they know now.
Yeah?
They know now.
At what age? So you started at 16. At what age did you like did you grow up with both parents or?
Just my mom.
Okay.
But I had a stepdad. But
Like, was he cool or was he like kind of like whack?
Yeah, he was whack.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, at what age did you like show your mom like, hey mom, like I like this, like you like actually showed her what it was?
My family was never too big fan of it. I was basically the only rock in the family.
Yeah.
So they're like, you know, like, what is this? You
For
know?
sure, the black sheep, huh?
Pretty much. So I never really told my mom, like, Mom, I could do this. And they never knew. They never knew at all until, like, I started doing it in like, social media. Like, I think I started putting it when I was, like, around maybe 18, 19, around there. And then I stopped because people would be like, like, what the fuck are you doing? Because not a lot of people knew. Because I didn't dress like this before.
Yeah.
In high school.
You
like,
just dressed like a normal Joe?
I guess try to, because I knew a lot of people would judge rockers. Or I don't know, I guess I try to fit into something.
That's a fact.
It's a fact. And I guess I try to fit into a trend. Just to like
Which
fit in.
trend? Which
like,
trend?
Like basically like a swag fag and shit like that.
Okay.
Or like a pretty boy, I guess.
I
you could
remember
say.
those foods, right, with the fucking piercings and shit.
Yeah,
with
the hats.
Yeah.
And like, so I guess I try to do that to fit in, you know. But like I guess after high school and like, you know, I had a girlfriend at the time in high school, and I was with her for like about 4 or 5 years. And after the breakup, and I started doing jiu-jitsu.
After the breakup or
like
right before?
Like when we broke up, like after the 5 mark.
Yeah.
Like I fucking joined jiu-jitsu because I got very depressed in a way.
Yeah.
So I was like, dude, I miss wrestling. I miss fucking like just doing it. Like I loved it. So sure. I remember I would always be into UFC. Like UFC was my shit. Like MMA and all that shit. And jiu-jitsu was like, fuck, I want to learn how to do jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
So it finally hit me. I'm like, fuck, I could do jiu-jitsu.
Instead of wrestling.
Yeah, because they don't have wrestling.
There's no wrestling anywhere.
No wrestling. Just in high school.
Or if you make it, like college.
Yeah.
And then fucking Olympics or whatever.
Exactly, yeah. So there wasn't really much, and I was just like, fuck, there isn't anything. Until it just clicked in my mind, like, fucking jiu-jitsu. Like, I always wanted to fucking learn.
Yeah. How did you discover the jiu-jitsu?
What do you mean, how did I discover? Like...
But how did you come across, like, how did you know it was a thing?
Or
did you always know? Since, like,
how
your
did I
wrestling
know? UFC.
Okay.
I started watching a lot. I would watch a lot of UFC.
What age?
I think I was in high school. I think I was 8th grade, 9th grade. That was about when I was. Fuck, I don't know when to start. It's like years back.
Oh, so
24 now.
You're pretty much a young boy
pretty
watching
much,
UFC, and you're like, oh, these guys are killing each other.
Yeah.
And then obviously in the midst, you probably heard Joe Rogan talking about
jiu-jitsu. Like they would basically talk about like all my jiu-jitsu and like. And they would say wrestling and shit like that. So I was like, oh, like, you know?
Right. Because you see, like, their foundations.
Yeah, they would
right?
say, like, what they're training stuff. So when they would go on the ground, they'd be like, oh, like, he has great wrestling, you know? And then the guy in the bottom, he has great jiu-jitsu. And then, like, I seen the triangles, the arm bars, and all that.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, that's badass, you know?
Yeah.
So when I finally became a freshman in high school, my high school had wrestling. So I was like,
right away. You're like, let's do it.
Yeah, and I was a fat kid, you know? Like,
oh, no way.
Yeah, I was a fat kid, dude.
Yeah.
I was a fat kid, and
like, how much did you weigh? Like about 170?
Nah, dude.
More?
Way more, yeah.
200?
Maybe like 250, 260. I was big, dude. I was pretty big. I was pretty big,
shit.
yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, dude.
I mean, like, I'm pretty good at like sizing people up. Because I was also in sports all the time, so I was always around big guys, and so I would tell them like, "Hey, well, how much do you weigh?" You know, so I know what a 220, 200, 180 guy looks like. You know? Yeah.
Yeah. So I was around that weight, and I joined wrestling, and like, you know, it was tough. The workouts were a bitch, dude. I'm not gonna lie. Cardio like crazy. About I think my junior year, that's when I like was completely like I lost weight. Like I was fit already.
You went.
Like
too skinny.
Yeah, like I got skinny, like I got fit pretty much, and everybody was like, "Damn, I didn't think you were gonna lose weight," you know, and I was committed to it because I fell in love with it. Like it was something that was like caught my eye always, so I always wanted to do it. And then you know, I ended up messing my knee. Fucked up thing about that is if I see that kid,
you're gonna.
No, I mean now like I'm cool with him, whatever. Like I've seen him, but like before, if I would have knew jiu-jitsu, I probably would have like wanted to fuck him up, man, you know? Yeah. Because he used it against me.
He used jiu-jitsu against you?
And he fucked up my leg.
Wrestling?
Yeah, he had joined wrestling. He was a year older than me. And I started rolling with this other kid, and he came from behind me and, you know, started rolling with me. So I was like, cool, whatever. And I knew he knew jiu-jitsu. And he ended up catching me like in a calf slicer kind of in a way.
Yeah.
And he started pulling my leg, and I was like, and you know, obviously I was like, all right, I'm done. Like I tapped, he kept pulling, and I kept tapping, like, dude, what the fuck, you know, like I'm tapping, and you just hear pop, and that's automatically let's go, right? And I was like, yeah, you have to let go when I'm already fucked.
Damn.
But yeah, I couldn't walk. I thought I literally broke my leg. I thought he broke my leg, but I was able to move my leg, and I was just like, what the fuck was that? Went to the doctors, they did an MRI. A week later, they told me that I tore my ACL. So I was out for 6 months, came back, and I wasn't the same. Like my leg hurt, like, so I gave up senior year wrestling.
That, you know, that's the messed up part about sports.
Yeah.
Is like, they do so much for you. Like for you, bro, it transformed your life. You know, you went from fat kid to fit kid, which is pretty much the biggest difference in your confidence, right? For sure.
Yeah. Dude,
and then all of a sudden, like you invest everything into this thing, and then all of a sudden it's like life just fucking takes it away from you.
Dude, I mean,
how did you deal with like the fact that everything that you loved, you couldn't do anymore, especially senior year, because senior year is like the year where you're a top dog, you know, you're the returner, everyone, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of regret like having not gone. I guess you could say like I started ditching from it because I was scared. Because I was scared like fuck, like I'm scared to mess up my leg, but I wanted to do it. Till my coach finally was like, hey, why are you ditching class? Like, what is it like, you know? And I ended up telling him, I was like, I don't feel the same. I'm scared. Like I'm scared to go back in the mats. Like I already went back and like it hurts. Like I can't even take down anymore. When they take me down, it hurts, and I just automatically like give them the takedown. Like I can't fight for it anymore. And you know, I kind of wish I could have maybe stayed and maybe like worked out on my leg or something. Maybe that's what it could have been. But you know, I ended up just doing other things like bike riding and like just hanging out with my homies and stuff like that. But you know, I think about it now, I'm just like, fuck, I should have maybe just stayed and done it or something.
But at the same time, it makes sense though, you know, because like the body needs time to recover.
Yeah.
So the reality is that maybe you did need that whole year to recover, and it just is what it is, you know?
I mean, true. I mean, shit, after that happened, like the whole senior year, like, you know, I just stopped working out. I got really skinny. And then, you know, the whole girlfriend thing, and, you know, throughout the years I got big again.
Yeah.
And then when the whole breakup happened, I was like, dude, like I started being depressed. Like I started hating myself kind of in a way. Like I was like, fuck, I'm not confident anymore. Like I don't feel happy with myself.
Yeah.
Like I feel horrible.
Yeah.
And then I was like, the whole breakup, it was just a whole depressing thing. And then top of that, I already have depression.
Yeah.
So it's even worse.
So it was like fucking
so like everything
right?
just hit me, and I'm like, fuck, you know. Till when I was just like, I need to do something. Like I wanted to go back to the gym, but I was like, it's not motivating enough. Like just to go to the gym and then that's it.
It's kind of boring, bro.
It is. I don't know how people do it. It's boring.
I can't do it, bro. Like
can't either.
I try everything that I can, and like it's just not like, it's not special to me. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like there's no purpose in it. Like the purpose is to be healthy, which is great, but then it's also superficial because it's like kind of like I just want to look good. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it's just kind of like that wears off really, really quickly. For me, when it's like either jiu-jitsu or football as it used to be, like there was a purpose.
Yeah.
Like I want to compete. Like I want to be good. Like I don't want to be soft. You know, so that kind of gives you that drive to like work out and try to like outcompete whoever's gonna be in front of you.
Yeah, basically.
But that was like a big issue, bro.
I mean, yeah, it was. I mean, shit, like I was probably a month like just like depressed as shit until finally it just hit me like, damn, I want to do jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
You know, it came to my mind. You know, at that time I had totaled my car already. Like it was like everything was just seemed like it was going downhill. And I totaled my car. I didn't have no car, so I told my mom, like, Mom, can you give me a ride to the gym? Like I want to check this out. The funny thing about how I found Connect though, I was looking through my phone and I had found the first gym that came through the list, and I called them. I was like, hey man, like I wanted to check it, like I was basically asking like, hey, like I want to check it out, like how much do you guys this and that. The guy seemed very like a dick, like he was kind of like.
Was it Baker?
No, it wasn't Becker.
Okay.
It was a different gym that I called, and they're like, oh, we can't discuss prices over the phone. If you want to come in, just come in. Mm-hmm. And he's like, what's your name? Like he kind of said it in a rude way, like he didn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like, I gave him my name. I was like, yeah. I didn't want to go. I was like, nah, that kind of killed my whole like
for sure.
I want to
go.
Feel
that energy, right?
Yeah, I was like, nah, I don't like that. Then I called Connect. That was the second one I called. I called, Becker answered. He's like, hey, what's up, man? I was like, hey, man, I had a question for you. You know, I want to check it. He was really cool on the phone. Like, you know, I can't really talk about prices on the phone, but like, you know, I could give you a price range. And like, he was just really cool. And like, we talked for a cool minute on the phone. And I was like, yeah, I want to go. So I went. You know, I met him. He was like, yeah, man. He was really cool. Everybody was friendly, and fell in love since, man. Like, just did it. And I was like, it brought back so many memories. My knee felt great. The only thing, I was just overweight again. But did it, and I fell in love with it, dude. Like,
I had a similar experience with Becker, dog. Like me, like I just barely. I mean, I think I have known about jiu-jitsu not too long. But like I said, you know, I listen to Joe Rogan, like he talks about it all the fucking time. Yeah, he does. So I was like, there has to be something special about this. Yeah. There has to be. So I was like, fuck it, let's try it. And then I did some research, whatever. I was like, I need to find somewhere local. First spot I go to, I just showed up right there in Southgate. And they like, I called them and they said, hey, you can show up. And I was like, if I just show up, can I like practice? And they're like, yeah, sure. You just gotta sign some waivers, show up. Fools give me a gi, and like my first day there, I don't know fucking shit about like the martial art. Yeah. But I'm excited, bro. Cause I'm the type of person like I want to try something, I'll try it. You know, if I don't like it, I don't like it. I show up, of course I get my ass, you know, beat and everything, but it's fun. And I'm just like, what is this? You know, what is this? And then little by little, like I start learning, and I just start falling in love. You know, and it was one of those things that was like very like short lived. Although I expect myself to return once everything is fine and dandy. And so, you know, I had the whole conversation. I was like, hey, bro, you know, I can't do this. And but at the end of the day, man, I really value Becker because he's a good guy. You know, and he's a great business guy because he's different than that guy that first talked to you, right? He's like, oh, like, what's your name? Versus, hey, man, like, come through and we'll talk. And so, you know, on top of that, when I got there, everyone else was chill. Yeah. You know, so I was just like, what? Like, this is a trip. Because, you know, when you play other sports, there's always like a lot of people that have like huge egos. Yep. And like in literally every other sport, they celebrate when they do something. Like, let's say I'm playing basketball and I'm going in for a layup and then I get swatted. The dude's gonna be like, you know, doing all this crazy shit. On the mat, every time someone made me tap, it was like they've done it before. Just kind of kept going. You know, like this very respectful place where nobody was really like being like, oh, like
better than you.
Exactly.
Yeah, nobody's like that.
You know you're better, obviously, but nobody's throwing it in your face. You know? So that was a pretty dope experience. Back to the music, bro. When is the next show? Around where? Etc.
Next show is this Saturday.
Yeah.
It's in LA. I forgot the address.
Yeah.
But that's gonna be, I think, our 4th show. Yeah, it's gonna be our 4th show.
Yeah.
This whole month, we're all last month and then a little bit of this month, we're working on our EP, like we're recording it and everything. And then my drummer's been busy with like, he has 2 other bands, so he's been busy with them. But this month is a little bit more like relaxed, so we could finally like all do shows now. So we booked the 12th. That one's gonna be fun because it's gonna be with a bunch of bands that I went to shows with and I would see them. Now I'm playing with them, so it's kind of like, that's dope.
Damn.
You know?
Yeah.
And then our second one that we have list is on November 9th. It's in Watts.
Yeah.
Right here at the Watts.
Yeah. What's your favorite part, bro, about a show, about performing?
Damn, man. I mean, to be honest, when I did my first show, I never performed in front of anybody. Especially my vocals. Like, I always done it behind the camera and posted it. And I always had that. When I first did it when I was 18, people would make fun of me because there weren't people that were like into the music or whatever.
Yeah,
like,
I get
what
it.
The fuck? What are you doing there?
Right.
Like, you know, making fun of you. But when I started doing jiu-jitsu and I started getting that confidence, like, you know, start giving a fuck what people think. Like, it's all about what you want, or like, you know, just being happy, I guess. You know, just stop hiding in a shell, just be you. So I started doing that, and I guess when I started doing that, now those people that were talking shit were like supporting it. So it's kind of like, the fuck, I guess when you show that you don't care, like you just show that confidence that you love doing, they kind of respect it, I guess you could say.
Right.
So I started doing a lot of that, like covers, stupid covers, and like people loved it, and I started meeting so much people. So when I first started doing the band thing and like I was gonna do my first show, I was nervous, bro. I was like, I never wrote lyrics. I'm gonna forget all the lyrics too. Like, I was so nervous, like, fuck, what if I fuck up?
And it's not like you can have a pad or anything, right?
Because if you have the pad thing, it's gonna look like this guy
you're
doesn't know
new.
shit. Yeah, you're new, basically.
Yeah.
You know? And I was like, dude, like, fuck, what if I fuck up? Like, I was nervous, dude. I was like, everybody's like, nah, you're gonna be fine, bro. Like, you're just overthinking, you're nervous. So it was our turn that was gonna come up. You know, everybody was getting ready, and like, I was nervous as shit, dude. I was shaking. I was like nervous. My palms were sweating. And then we started. You know, I was still nervous. You know, the drum started. You know, the whole music started. You know, my part hasn't came in yet. So when my part was literally gonna come in, and the scream came in, everything just blanked out. Like, I was so focused into it, like I forgot the crowd was there, and I got so into it, bro.
Yeah.
It was the best feeling in the world.
Oh shit! I thought you meant like.
Oh, you thought I blanked out?
Yeah.
I thought, nah, dude.
I was like, fuck.
Nah. When I did the first scream and like, I got into it, bro. Like I started headbanging like crazy. I forgot everybody was there, and I started doing me. Like I was just going crazy, bro. Like headbanging, fucking doing whatever I gotta do.
Yeah.
And it was fun.
Yeah.
It was fun.
That's crazy, bro. That almost seems like a psychedelic experience.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like you enter your own world.
Pretty much, dude. Yeah.
You know?
It's like, I mean, it was my first time ever doing it, so like, I never knew how it would be. So when I first did it, I mean, you know, there's people there, and I was like, you know, I know most of the people, and like, yeah, they support me, whatever. But there was new faces, and like, you know, I was always intimidated by those people. Always made fun. But and then like I was like, I'm surrounded by people that love this shit.
Right.
You know, so it's like. So I did it, man. Like I did it, and I was like, after I was done with the whole set, I was like, that was fun, dude. Like it's just you have this rush, this adrenaline rush, like, and like you just in your mind, like you go into this world and you just feel like a rock star, I guess you could say. Like you feel like no one could tell you shit. Like you're in your world.
Yeah.
It just felt cool, bro. It was fun. It was a fun experience, and I love it, man. Like, you know, I started doing my second show. Like, yeah, I still get nervous. Don't get me wrong. I still get nervous.
It's natural, right?
It's a natural thing, I guess. For me, I always get nervous.
Well, I mean, trip out, bro. Like, I listen to a lot of famous people talk online, and like, I was listening to the Black Eyed Peas just not too long ago, and the lead singer's like, dude, like, I get anxiety every single time. And then I was like, fuck, like, you're pretty much at the top of music, right? In whatever, you know, genre you are, but it doesn't become new. I'm like, it doesn't become old.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like every time you grab the mic, you're like, I can feel that again, like rising in my temperature. I'm getting sweaty.
Yeah, dude.
But then it's like, I would always feel this way on the football field. I'm nervous every time, but as soon as that first play was over, boom, you forget.
Yeah, dude.
You forget that there's people watching. You forget that you're nervous. You're just like, oh, I've been doing this for years.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I guess I was more nervous because I was like, I want to put on a show. Like, I don't want to just stand there. Like, you know, I was like nervous. Like, what if we don't put a great show? What if I don't? What if my vocal? Like, you know, I was just a lot of doubt, you know. And when I did it, man, like, I forgot everything. Like, fucking everything. Like, I just started going ham. Like, you know, I was going crazy, and people were like, "You're a good stage performer."
What do you think? What do you think it is that allowed you to just tap into that different like force field?
Something I love.
Yeah.
Vocals.
Like passion.
Yeah, it was just a passion that I always done.
Yeah.
So like, I guess finally doing it with the band. I always wanted to be in a band.
So it took years, right?
It took me years. I mean, it took me years because I never surrounded myself with people. I never surrounded myself with musicians. I never surrounded myself with the same people.
Okay.
So I guess, you know, started doing my own thing and things that I love, and you know, going to shows, meeting so much people, and then people were like, dude, like, you're that guy that does vocal covers, like, that's funny. Like, so I started getting known a little bit. So I started meeting a lot of people, and I'm like humbled by it a lot because like people know who I am, and they like respect me so much for it because they're like, dude, like, you have balls for doing that, like doing covers and like screaming them and like they're cringy songs, like like you have balls, dude. Like,
oh, so you're saying like the songs that you cover, they're not even like
some of them, nah. Like I did a Britney Spears cover, I did a Baby Shark cover, I did
that's funny as fuck.
I did the what's the name of that song from White Chicks? 1,000 Miles. I covered that one.
Okay.
And like, yeah, I covered some like, you know, metal or like punk or whatever, but like I did a lot of the funny ones.
You're doing it for a reason, right? You want to be like humorous.
Yeah, like funny in a funny way.
In your way.
But people would like it.
Right.
Because it's still like kind of like
it's different.
It's different, yeah, exactly.
I've never seen anyone do that shit before.
And I guess that's why people liked it.
Right.
You know, they're like, what the fuck, that's different.
Right.
Like, you know, this guy's covering pop songs and fucking screaming. I'm like, what the fuck?
Right.
So I guess that's why I like even those people that don't listen to that shit, watch it because it's funny. And you know, Surrounded, which is my crew, Sideshow, and Lizard. I don't know if you've seen like a bunch of skits.
I've seen
with the afro.
I remember seeing one of your skits. The one that was what's the name of that movie? The one where they're blind.
Bird Box.
Yes. I saw that Bird Box skit. Oh, it was hilarious. You know, because you were talking about what you like.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I'm saying? In a funny ass way. And I was like, yeah, man. Like honestly, bro, that's legit. You know, like we live in this era where anything can happen, dog. Mm-hmm. Anything can happen with social media, and like. You know, usually it's like really dumb shit that kind of goes viral, whatever. I have nothing against that because I enjoy it myself. But then also like you have the ability to have like one of your videos like go viral by some chance or something.
Yeah, I mean,
and that can completely change your life all the way around with your music, with any sort of career. And so I'm all for it, man. I'm all for it. For me, it's like really exciting. Like I support all of it, and I just don't support when it's like when it's like conflicting with your own like self. You know what I'm saying? Like if it's limiting yourself, like if your whole life is like social media, I feel like that's kind of fake to some degree.
Yeah, I try not to do that. I mean, usually when I post, like now especially, I tend to just post funny stuff or like I support other people, like, you know, shows, or like if my buddy puts a thing up, like I support it. I tend to not like kind of make up this life that I have.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of just basically do whatever I want. Like if I'm listening to music, I'll just record the music I'm listening to.
Right.
Or if I'm training, then I'll just show a picture of me training. Like I don't tend to like make it seem like I have so much money, and like I don't like that.
Mm-hmm.
I tend to not like that because it's kind of like you're fronting.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's not cool to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of just use my social media as I like to support others, or like, you know, whenever I can do a video, or just when I'm bored, like, you know, I put questions like, hey, what is it? Right. Like that. But I mean, if I do go out, yeah, I'll record what I'm doing.
Yeah, but you're just like keeping it real though, right?
Real,
like,
yeah, exactly.
It's like that's what social media is for.
Mm-hmm.
It's like being yourself. I'm not really talking about people who are themselves. I think that's fucking great. Mm-hmm. Like, but you're talking about also the people that make the appearance, right? Like, my life is so beautiful. Yeah. My life is so perfect. Look at this. Look at that. I have all these things going on for me. Mm-hmm. I like to have a little bit of balance. You know, I feel like shit today.
Shit, I do too.
Right?
Fuck.
Like, it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And that's totally okay to kind of just like, I like that actually more, right? Because you completely paint the picture of, I'm a complete human, bro. Like one day you might think I'm a great guy. Another day, I might be kind of an ass, you know? But it doesn't mean that I'm more this or that. It just kind of means that I'm kind of like everything together, you know? Some of your lyrics, you know, they talk a little bit about like mental illnesses. You know, they talk a little bit about like people going through dark situations and kind of getting out of that. I remember having that conversation with you one time about like a really important song that you had written, and that you were drawing kind of like a connection, and you were saying something along the lines of like, this is kind of what I'm feeling, you know, and I want to use this to kind of bring it out. Like, why do you think music is important for people, for anyone to kind of unload some of that trauma and shit that they're feeling?
I mean, I guess as like, you know, band that I like, Death, you would talk a lot about real shit, and I would like that, like, you know, because some of the songs, like, you know, the song that I remember he wrote is one of my favorite albums, but one of the songs is called Within the Mind. It's basically talking about like, you know, all these dark images, like stop living in the past, like, you know, like don't be living on the past that's hurting you, like move on and focus on the future and what's gonna make you happy. Don't do, like, basically it's telling you like to move on, you know, like kind of like all the shit you're feeling, all those dark images, you know, just look forward, don't dwell on the past. So that you know, like, just a lot of his inspiration affected me a lot, and I kind of wanted to talk about like real shit, you know, real shit, like, you know, sometimes he may not use personal shit, but like to me, I feel like using my personal shit would kind of, how can I say it, like affect someone else, like, oh shit, like I feel the same way, like, you know, a song finally that I could listen to that's like I relate to, you know, because everybody relates different ways, you know. Like the first song I ever wrote it's called Through the Eyes of the Wicked. Basically it's kind of like you're lost in your mind fighting a demon, which is depression, and just like, you know, like everything is just dwelling on you, and you just feel like you're just fighting this war that's endless. So at the end of the day, you end up killing yourself. You know, so it's kind of like you're letting that rage out in music and letting it out to the point where people were like, oh shit, like he felt this way, but yet he's still alive. Like, you know, it's kind of hard to explain it, but
no, it totally makes sense.
Like it's weird because some people were like, how can you, like, people that don't listen to this, or like they're like, oh, like your lyrics are so crazy, or like they're so, like, you know, you kill yourself. Like that's what I want. Like I want to kill myself, but I can't, because I have so much shit that I like want to accomplish. I guess you say it's not my time, or it's like I want to give an example is like, you know, life is shit, but at the end of the day, it has its good. You know, like, you know, it would have its bad, it would have its good, but at the end of the day, you know, it's life. That's how it is. You know, so it's like, why be weak and be like, you know, I just kill myself. Might as well just write it in music, where people would be like, oh fuck, like I relate to that, like it means so much, like, and I guess that's why I want to keep it real with a lot of mental illness, because I know a lot of people deal with it, especially mine is a fucking huge thing. It's huge. Like it's crazy how I could just, one day you're happy, like, yeah, you know, you have happy thoughts, and then one day you're just so depressed and you just like, everything is just like, I hate everything, like I don't want to live anymore, you know. So I guess that's why a lot of the inspiration of that first song really means a lot to me, because it's something I deal with all the time.
Right.
You know, so I try to write it as much as possible as I can. You know, sometimes I'll talk about like, you know, people in general nowadays, like people, especially your family. I wrote one about family where like even your own kind of bring you down so much. Like, oh yeah, like, you know, your family supposedly gives you all this love, but at the end of the day, it's fake love. You know, you get me? Like,
yeah, it's kind of like I have to, right?
Yeah, like kind of like, how can I say it? Like when I wrote this song, it's our self-titled song called Putrescence, and it's that song to me is like really, really dark. Basically talking about like my mom and my stepdad, of how I felt. Basically, you know, a child left to rot, you know, betrayed by his own kind. Basically, my own mother picking the stepdad over me after, you know, abuse, you know, just physical abuse, verbal abuse, like just so much shit. So it always made me wonder, like, why didn't you pick me over him? You know, like, why didn't you say you love me, but why did you still stay with him and let him make me go through shit? Right. You know? So it started getting to that point where I was talking about, like, you know, fake love, like, or like basically like people say your own family betray you, you know, and you live through this pain and suffering for years until finally you go insane to the point where you're just like, I want to kill this guy. Right. You know, that, because that's how I actually did feel. Right. I hated this guy so much that, like, growing up, like, he would always be my mom, it would be me, and like I just felt like this guy hated me so much for I don't know why. So when I really wrote this song, I basically talked about myself going in a rampage, killing this person, and I ended up killing myself at the end of the day because I hated myself and I hated him. Right. So it's just crazy, you know, like, yeah, how you could, you know, I never thought I would write music. So when I wrote it, I was like, I was so into the feeling of it. I was depressed when I wrote it, and you know, when I wrote it, I was just like, oh fuck, like that's how I feel, like, oh shit. Yeah. You know?
Yeah, but it's a beautiful thing, bro.
It is.
To put pen on paper or to type, it's a form of reflection. And at the end of it, you get to see what's really there. Because you can bullshit a psychologist, you can bullshit your family, you can bullshit anyone. But then you can't bullshit yourself.
You can't, no.
Because you see yourself every fucking day in the mirror, and you can try to bullshit yourself, right?
I mean, I tried in high school shit. I bullshitted myself. Like, oh yeah, I'm this person that I'm not, but like I'm fitting in. It's cool.
Yeah, but then you know what's really there, and so when you like honestly want to put down things, you're gonna see what's really going on because you're being honest, right? And at the end of it, I mean, thankfully for you, it's like poetry, man. Like I fucking love observing when people express themselves like that, because first of all, it takes courage, you know, to accept the truth, and second of all, it provides a piece of instruction or guidance for somebody else that is probably going through something very similar with stepdad or stepmom that's a complete piece of shit and they're assholes. And as you're like describing this, I'm picturing all my friends and girlfriend and everybody or whoever else that I know that's gone through something similar, right? And I'm like, that's a human experience, bro. Unfortunately, you know, that's something that hella fools are going through right now. And what sucks is that we're too scared to share that. We're too scared to be like, I had a piece of shit in my life that completely ruined me, and that's probably why I'm fucking anxious and depressed.
Always angry.
And feeling these feelings of like intoxication, right? Like I want to hurt somebody. Like I have these issues, right? And I don't think, sometimes maybe you can be born with issues. I don't know, right? I'm not an expert in that, but I do know that we learn these things for sure, right? Because how else are we gonna be the toxic people that we are today without having had a toxic person in our life that basically dumped all that toxicity onto us, and we're just little kids. We're just little kids, man. We're gonna eat everything that you're feeding us because we don't have a good choice.
I mean, I felt like just going up through that, I mean, I guess you could say I am thankful because like it kind of gave me that picture. Like I don't want to be like this asshole. Like I don't, like, you know. And then also gave me the idea like I don't want to be like my dad, where he just left.
Right.
You know. So it kind of gave me that like that thing where like, you know, I want to be different. I want to be better. I want to be, like, if I have kids, like I'll be there for my kids. It doesn't matter. Like say if I get a girl pregnant today and like shit, I can't even support myself. You know.
Right.
Like. I would at least still have the courage and be like, you know what, we'll get through this together. Because at the end of the day, it was my responsibility. I could have wore protection, but I didn't.
Right.
You know, it's like your own responsibility, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, fuck, you'll be like, shit, like, you'll be going crazy. But at the end of the day, that's what you wanted, right? You weren't thinking. You weren't thinking with the right head. You were thinking with the wrong one.
Right.
You know?
Gets you into a lot of problems.
But, yeah, man, I mean, I guess going through that and just being me is, you know, like I try to give everybody love, you know, like everybody, like no matter how much shit I'm going through, if I see a friend like fucking depressed or sad, I'll make sure I'm there for like, hey man, it's like, it's okay, like everything's gonna be okay. Like I always make sure they're there, and like I tend to help others. That's what I want to do. Like I want to give love. Why? Because there's already so much hatred in the world, and there's already so much snakes in the world, so it's kind of like you don't know what's real anymore, you know? Yeah. So it's kind of like I kind of want to show that there are still people left that are like us, that are like, you know, just real.
They care,
like,
they give a fuck.
They give a fuck, you know?
Yeah.
And it sucks because sometimes people do take advantage of it, though. People do. But at the end of the day, I guess you kind of learn, like, all right, who can I let in my circle, who I can't, you know?
Yeah.
But, I mean, I guess you could say I am thankful for it because it kind of made me who I am, which sucks. It's funny because when you go through shit, it turns you into something good. But when you don't go through shit, it changes you to an asshole. Especially like those rich people.
What do you, okay, I get it.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
a good
like
example.
they have
At first
everything.
I was like, what do you mean? But then I know exactly what you mean.
You know?
I was just watching Joker yesterday.
How is it?
It's fucking amazing, dog.
Yeah? I haven't seen it. I want to watch
I like
it.
it. I mean, like, especially like as someone, you know, that experiences through these different like mental issues, you know, and there's a full variety of different like mental issues and stuff. Like Joker's dealing with his own, and it's like, I don't know how much I can say without getting people angry because they're like, oh, you're spoiling the movie. But I'll just talk about it like without mentioning like events in there. But the reason why I love that film so much is because it explains to you precisely why we have so many awful people in society. Like, I'm talking about those psychopaths, sociopaths that just go killing millions of people without really feeling anything. It's because at some point they were the sweetest, most loving people, but they had a mental issue, right? Some type of mental issue. As a society, we didn't take the responsibility of giving them the right amount of help, which is, it could be a lot of different things. I'm sure psychologists and counselors know a lot more, but in my perspective, love, just if you like love that person, because there were scenes, right, where he didn't kill people that like were like legit loving to him, right? And it's just kind of like, oh shit, like that makes sense. Like, you treat that forgotten kid right, and even though he's gonna go off in the future, fucking as a school shooter, he's probably gonna look at you and be like, nah, like this fool never belittled me, never disrespected me, never said bad things to me. In fact, he was always kind of nice to me. He can survive, you know? So the idea is like, if as a society we help each other out, especially when we're going through something, like we wouldn't have.
It's a great example. Yeah, it's a great example about, like, you know, if I kind of like how you're using that, like that one person that becomes psychopath and kills millions. Well, imagine if the whole world became, you know, like helping others and helping each other out, it would be a much better world where people will feel more happy, less depressed. Because if you notice now in times, a lot of people are more depressed, or have anxiety, and just horrible. Yeah. It's fucking awful.
Do you think it's because we were younger and little kids and we didn't know it existed? Or do you think like shit's just going down a lot more in society that it's just kind of making everybody?
I feel like there's more drugs now. If you actually think about it.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, back then, like when weed was illegal and like a bunch of drugs were illegal. I mean, but like I guess you could say, like when I look back in the 80s or like stuff like that, times were so much a little better. You kind of get me? Like people were a lot nicer. People were more like, you know, helping and stuff like that. And today's time, people are more like egos. So much egos. Like they're fake to you. They're only nice to you when they want to get something from you. Like not and this time it's like that. Like everybody just seems to like just feed off people like leeches. Like they just leech on you, get whatever they want, boom, off to the next one. Like, and that's just not right. Like I don't think it's right, dude. Like, you know, and then all these people, you know, now it's like so much young girls getting pregnant like this. You know, I think it has to do with the music today too. You know, like all these I call it those rappers, what are they called? Fucking
like mumble rap or trap music?
Trap music, there you go, where they talk about like money, drugs, girls, you know, fuck, all this stuff. Like, you know, that's going to the kids in middle school, you're going to the little kids, they're listening to the radio. It's like, you know, all they're gonna hear is that. To them, they're gonna think it's okay. You know, they're gonna be, oh, like, you know, like what, 14, 13-year-olds are already fucking vaping.
Yeah, and
because they think
they're
it's,
not even vaping
cool,
weed,
you know?
either. They're vaping fucking jewels.
Exactly, because it looks like a toy.
Yeah,
and you know, and
it tastes good. It makes you feel good.
I mean, I'll smoke. I smoked. You know, I smoked when the whole thing of the jiu-jitsu thing, like being gone. Like I started smoking, like cigarettes and stuff like that. I just stopped. I quit already, but I do get it here and there. Yeah. But like, you know, I control it. But it sucks when you see these kids already like doing it. You know, they're smoking it and they think it's all cool. And like the parents don't seem to give a fuck as much anymore. They just let them do whatever they want. Yeah, and it just seems like all these kids don't have that discipline, I guess you could say. You know, like teaching them how to respect girls, teaching them how to be. And it just seems like today now is like, if you ever notice, all these guys just fucking talk to these girls like if they're just toys, and it's like it shouldn't be that way.
And vice versa.
Yeah.
Vice versa, like that's where we're at today in society, bro. Yeah. Like I'm not really doing this today because I've had a girl for a while, but like what I've noticed, the pattern is that most people like our age or younger, and even like 30s and stuff, like all they're doing is like having sex with each other and like just one partner and another partner and like just keep going. I don't think that's necessarily like having sex and having pleasure is not bad, but I just don't feel like those are my values. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I feel like there's something going on where the shift where we're headed towards is not where I want to go. You know? But like I said, it's not like I'm not saying it's bad to have sex with whoever you want to say, but
at the same time, it's kind of like, where's the respect?
That's where it's kind of gets tricky, because both men and girls are calling each other hoes.
Exactly.
But like really meaning it. Like there's a difference between like when you say like words matter, but the context matters. Like you can say a word but not really mean it, like you're messing around. But most people really do feel that way towards each other. You know, and there are all these different divisions in society, and like everyone's like my group, your group, like it's just kind of like very chaotic. You know, it's very chaotic. Now, I'm not sure if it's the new thing or if it's like one of those human things where it's like, you know, because of like war, for example. Fucking war's been around since the first man created a spear. You know, so I'm not too sure as far as like, are we getting worse? I think like we're getting worse in some aspects, and then we're getting better in other aspects.
Yes. Why? I feel like it's getting worse in like aspects like that. But it's getting better because ever since the new president came, it feels like a lot of people are starting to unite more. Like, oh, like, nah, we're gonna let this shit happen. Like, all this came out, now people are actually like saying shit. Like, nah, like, the fuck, you know, actually going out rioting and stuff like that. And now people are starting to like come together. But at the same time, I feel like it needs to add on, like not just because it's a political thing, but now it's like, you know, there could be people in school where they're going through shit and people are bullying them. Bullying is another thing too, you know?
Yeah. Shit, I know about that.
I do too, bro. Yeah. Trust me. And I think that's why, like, I encourage a lot of people to do jiu-jitsu. Why? Because it helps a lot mentally, physically, and it just teaches you so much. It opens up your eyes in a lot of things. It does. Like if you actually think about it, like it does.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it was doing wonders mentally, bro. Cause I mean, I've always been an athlete, bro. So I didn't start experiencing anxiety, like real anxiety, until I was an adult, which makes sense. Cause this fucking adult life, bro, it's a lot.
Fuck yeah,
it's a lot. And it starts triggering all these fucking things in your mind that when I was a kid, I can remember sort of feeling anxious in certain moments, but I was always playing. I was always outside. I was always doing something that had me doing athletic things. So for me, it's like when I'm running purposely, I can't remember. My mind is too focused on trying to take you down, or you know, trying to like make sure playing defense on myself, protecting myself, to think that I'm anxious. I mean, after practice, I might feel anxiety, you know, but it's that sanctuary in that moment, in that place where you know I'm safe. Relatively, you know, physically you can still get hurt and shit, but like mentally, it kind of liberates you, man. It truly liberates you, and that's why I'm a huge supporter of all sports, all martial arts. But I always keep it real, and like they can get you hurt. Like football, for example, man. There's all these guys, man, that have CTE, and they're studying their brains after, and they're like, dude, these guys were basically going crazy. You know, like I don't know if you remember Aaron Hernandez. He's like this tight end for the New England Patriots, and he went to prison for killing some fools. And in prison,
I heard about that.
In prison, he ended up hanging himself. You know, but these guys, bro, their brains hitting for like 20 years. Yeah. That's major fucking damage. Boxers, kickboxers, dude, you're getting pounded in your face and kicked in the face. Like, as much as I love UFC, I'm so passionate about it now, especially after jiu-jitsu, because now I understood the takedowns, and I'm like, oh shit, like he's defending right now. You know,
it's so more interesting.
It's way more interesting.
Shit, I know how to do that.
Yeah, because everybody else is just watching, like, yeah, he got socked in the face, like, you know, while I'm over here thinking like, dude, that's great defense.
Yeah.
That's a great takedown. Or in my head, I'm like, that guy knows great jiu-jitsu, like he's doing jiu-jitsu right now. But at the same time, it's like, those fools are gonna be fucked.
Yeah, I mean, fuck, dude, I mean, it's crazy. Don't get me wrong, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But I mean, I feel like with the UFC, I feel like they tend to do a good job with it though.
How so?
Because they know it's really crazy, so I think they always do check on their fighters and be like, hey, are you okay? Because I mean, if you actually think about it, they haven't really, no MMA fighter has gone crazy yet. So I mean,
yeah, because they're kind of young.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but I mean, you don't know, dude. But I know they do go fucking beating, bro. Knees, fucking cracked nose, elbows.
But I feel like the cracked noses are nothing for those guys.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
but it's brutal, man.
Yeah,
it's brutal.
Hell yeah. So like observing all of that, are you trying to get to like a black belt something?
I would love to, man.
Yeah,
I would love to. Yeah. I mean, my dream was I kind of want to open my own gym.
Okay.
A jiu-jitsu gym.
That's fucking dope.
Why? Because I kind of want to help the kids that are like going through stuff. You know, like, you know, maybe trouble at home, or, you know, getting bullied at home, or, you know, and anything. And I kind of wanted to open up for like stuff like that, to help the kids out and stuff like that. You know, to show them that, like, you know, it doesn't matter how big you are, it doesn't matter how tiny you are, it doesn't matter, as long as like you train, or like, you know, you learn this, like, you'll always be okay. Like, kind of teach their mind a little bit, and they'll be like, oh, okay, I understand this, you know. Because I wish I would have started younger, dude. Like,
for sure.
If I ever did it, I'm like, dude, that would have helped me a lot. And just so they could gain that confidence, like, you know, like, oh, like, I'm getting bullied, like, I know how to defend. Like, you need to stop. Exactly. Like, you know, stand up for themselves.
Right.
You know, not be scared away. You know, especially parents nowadays, they seem to not give a fuck about their kids. Like, I see it every day at my house. Like, you know, my step grandma with her daughter, like, all she is, bro, on the phone all day. Like, not told nothing. So it's kind of like, you know, where's that? Like, do this, clean, do that. It's like, I did that when I was a kid, and like, now I'm just like, always have to be on my shit. Like, oh shit, I gotta make sure my clothes are clean. Like, I gotta make sure that. So it's kind of like, where's the discipline, you know?
Right. And that's something that we were talking about earlier, was like the values where they haven't been taught to us, you know. And like I'm putting myself in this because you know, just like recently, bro, like last year, I became part of this like hombre círculo. It's a circle of men that get together and share with each other what you're going through. Dude, best shit that's ever happened to me in my life. They taught me a lot about how to treat people in general. Like, I've always been like a good kid to some degree, but like they gave me like some virtues, you know, like some shit that I can live by, that I can be like, all right, like just do these things, and you should be a decent human being. Of course, you're gonna slip and slide, I mean, left and right.
We ain't perfect,
you know. So. But this circle pretty much like changed my life forever. I haven't been able to go the past 2 months because of like just little things, kind of like here getting in the way. But lately, judging by the way that I've been feeling, like I'm like, dude, I need my therapy. You know, like I don't really like one-on-one therapy too much. It's just depends. Maybe it depends on the therapist or something. For me, it doesn't do too much. For me, I'd rather listen to other people, because in that circle, it's called Hombre Círculo. It happens in East LA Women's Center. You're invited if you ever want to go and just share some shit. But basically, it's every third Thursday of the month at 7 p.m. You do have to be over 18 years old, or if you're younger, you could go with, you know, an adult or something. But basically, man, like we'll show up and we'll take turns. Like in the middle, we have an altar, which is basically like all the like the spiritual, because it's very spiritual. It's like one of those things where they basically they ask the ancestors to guide you, you know, through these like toxic times and but my point is that all these guys, bro, they share shit, and they share like real shit. And when I'm listening to them, I'm like, fuck, like, first of all, my life's not that bad, you know, and second of all, like, learn from them, like learn from their mistakes, you know what I mean? Because like that's what wisdom is. It's like not making the same mistake over. I make mistakes all the time, but like if you're sharing something and I'm like, damn, bro, like this fool really, you know, cheat on his wife, he feels like shit, like I probably shouldn't do that, you know. So there's just all these different things that I've learned and that it comes to me, man, and it's just like I'm very lucky, I'm very blessed to have that opportunity to kind of learn from people, and always like trying to listen to like older cats you know, because they've been through shit, they've been through what we've been through, and it's just kind of like every day you gotta kind of like just take it in and be like, hey, well, let's see what goes on today. Is there anywhere where, you know, people listening to this can be like, I want to find out more, you know, more about you? Like, where would they be able to find out more about you?
Like social media wise?
Yeah, anything.
Well, I mean, my personal page. I also have this production called Crazy Ass Production.
Mm-hmm.
We built that from scratch. What it basically is just like with my production with my two other friends. So we throw like rock shows, or we like, you know, get bands, and you know, they line up and then people come and, you know, have a good time.
Yeah.
You could also, there would be great there, because, you know, and if I post it, more people would be like, oh, okay, you know, more into it.
Right.
But yeah, I mean,
yeah. If there's one like last thing that you would like to like share with the audience, not necessarily like advice, because I know sometimes I tell people like, hey, give some advice. It kind of sounds like weird, because you're like, man, I don't know what to be giving advice. But like, if you could share something that you feel is like has been important in your life, or that has helped you, or something like that, what is one thing that you would like to share with the audience?
What's helped me, what I think, who gives a fuck what people think about you? Just do what you want to do and what makes you happy. Because at the end of the day, like, you can't, it's not about pleasing others and just, you know, look at me, for example. I'm like dressed like this. People are like, oh, like they just look at you weird. But if you actually get to know me, I'm actually a pretty cool person, just like everyone else. So I just feel like, who gives a fuck what people think? Do what you love, and at the end of the day, it's what makes you happy. Yeah. That's what I think.
Yeah. Well, I fucking co-sign that message because I truly believe that, you know, and it takes us a long time to get to that point.
Fuck. Yeah.
You know, like, I mean, I'm 26 now, bro, and I look at myself every day in the mirror, and I can see myself getting older.
Fuck, bro.
You know?
I'm 24, man. It's already hitting me too.
And like, I know I shouldn't think about this shit, because it's not good for me to think these negative thoughts, because it just starts consuming me, man, and it starts making me feel like just negative, man, and that's not who I want to be. And then I'm like, I look at all these fools that are older, and I'm like, dude, it's okay, man. Like, this is just our cycle of life, and the sooner I admit it to myself, that's gonna happen,
it's gonna happen,
the easier I'm gonna get through it. Because it's like, it's always been really easy for me to be happy and like move along and just kind of keep the pages going, because I'm like, fuck it, just keep going. But now this is something different, you know, like, I'm reminded of my own mortality, versus when you're like a teenager in your early 20s, you're kind of just going.
Yeah.
Your train doesn't reflect too much. It just kind of it's just going.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, especially, I mean, I feel like now, oh man, because I experience this all the time, but like, I feel like now parents or like people just expect you to have your life like together, like when you're already 21.
Right.
Like, oh, how come you don't have your place, or like, you know, or like, how come you're not moved out yet? Like, they just like have this image where you have to have everything already like set in your life when you're like 24, and I've read, like, I've seen broadcasts, or like I've seen, like, you know, videos, or like, you're young, like, you don't know what the fuck you're doing, like, you know, you're just basically going wherever it takes you. You know, so it's like, you can't have this thing where you're like, oh, I have to be ready by 22 and I have a house and be married and all this shit, you know? It's like, you don't know what the fuck you want. Right. So, you know, like, especially in high school, they tell you like, oh, or when you start college, what do you want to do, and you have to do all these things. It's like, we don't know what the fuck we want to do, but we're just doing it because that's how we're trained to do.
Right.
You get me? So it's like, and I don't think that, I mean, me, I went to school, I stopped going to school, but I feel like when you do things that you want to do, passionate about, I feel like you have more opportunities, you meet more people, you know, you just feel a lot more happier, I think. Because, like, yeah, I might not have a bunch of money or whatever, like, I work at Amazon and, you know, make, you know, good money or decent money barely, I'm still happy. You know, I do music. I get to train. You know, I get to enjoy life, I guess you could say.
Right.
You know, meet people. It's fun.
Yeah.
You know, humble about it.
I like that, bro. I like that. Like, it's like school is like giving everyone a little pill, right?
Mm-hmm.
Swallow this pill, and you're gonna do just fine. You swallow the pill, you end up being 18, 21, and you're like, the fuck? Like, this is not really what was fantasized by everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we'd have our houses by 22, 24, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's not a reality that is true today. Maybe it was true in the 60s or 50s.
Exactly.
But that shit ain't the real deal today.
Yeah.
Right? So, I like how you said it, man. Even though you don't have that all set up, if you're kind of passionate about something, you're going to be like, I may not have all of this in my life right now, but maybe I will in the future. And that doesn't mean that I can't be happy today, or try to be, right? Because we're battling, and perhaps every day is a struggle, and perhaps every day there's a curveball or whatever comes at us. Yeah. But we have a better idea that it doesn't have to be the end or anything of that nature. George, thank you, man, for showing up today, man. I hope you had a good time. You know,
yeah, it was fun, dude.
This is like one of my passions, bro. Like, honestly,
I mean, it's cool, man. I support it. Like,
thank you, man.
It's sick. I mean, I've seen some of your things, and it's cool. Like, you just interview random people, like different people. You know? So that's cool, you know, like. And I guess that's why I respect that, because you don't try to stick to one thing. You try to like, you know, I want to meet different bunch of people. And I know me, I'm like probably the only one that you're like, I never interviewed a rocker, you know. So
yeah, I never have, but I've always known rockers.
It's cool, you know.
You know, like, I've always known rockers, and like, I don't like to categorize people like, oh, you're a rocker, so you have to be a crazy ass fool.
That's not true.
You know, it's not true. You could probably be the most sensitive, caring, loving person ever.
I know so many metalheads, man. They're like so like sensitive and stuff, but we just look mean when we play music and we're in the pits. But
that's it's like
a thing we love.
Exactly. And it is what it is, man. But again, thank you, man.
Thank you.
I had a fucking blast. I appreciate you for showing up, man. Keep playing music. I want to go do some shows and shit. Maybe definitely like the Watts one, or, you know, shit happens in Watts or whatever.
Yeah, I know.
But or not, like, maybe you said this Saturday, no?
Yeah.
In downtown.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that's it, man. We'll wrap it up. I love you guys as always, man. I don't think you gave them your social media handle, just in case if someone wants to reach out and be like, yo, what's the deal?
Yeah, I mean, if you guys want to follow me, my Instagram is Georgie, just Georgie. If you guys want to check out my band, it's Future Essence Official. You could just look for it on my bio when you follow me. But he's an awesome fucking dude. Support his shit.
Boom. Catch y'all fools later.